Great, thanks. Hi, guys. Thank you all for joining. I'm going to go ahead and start my little spiel that I wrote here. Do we need to? Yeah, we should do roll call first, probably though. Let's do roll call, Mike, please.
Okay. I'll start with Counselor Gelfand. Jenny. Mike frozen.
Oh, Jenny, you're muted again.
If you want, you can turn on your camera too, and then we can see you.
Okay.
We're live over here.
I'm here.
All right. I have Counselor Gelfand, Counselor Olson,
Here.
Counselor Manelis,
Here.
Counselor Tyso. You're muted, Counselor Tyso.
Okay, there we go.
And Mayor Thompson.
Here.
Thank you.
Hi, Peter.
Hello.
I don't need to call the meeting to order officially, do I, since it's an interview or?
It's a work session, so this is our option to kind of chat with 4 candidates. We have Gretchen Boehner, Stephen Gearhart, John Hartman, and Cindy McCullough are the 4 candidates that we've.
Okay. I'll just get going. I wrote a little something I wanted to read before we start the interview process. So I just want to let everyone know that's on Zoom watching the meeting that we decided to switch this meeting to Zoom when we learned about a protest that was being organized at City Hall today. Out of an abundance of caution, we closed City Hall and sent the staff home. To those of you that have been emailing and calling the current counselors to share your opinion about who you think we should select to fill this open position, I support your right to free speech and to share your opinion, but any intimidation tactics or perceived or real threats have been and will continue to be forwarded to the police. In regards to the timing of our interviews today, the council is following the charter to a T. The charter states in section 2.38.021A that applications should be accepted for 30 days after the first publication of notice. The Oregonian published the public notice on November 15th. There were several applications that were submitted on December 16th, which is 32 days after the Oregonian's post. So those applicants were not offered interviews since they were late in applying. The charter also states in section 4.03A that a counselor's term of office shall begin at the first regular council meeting in the year immediately following the general election, which is next month, and shall continue until a successor assumes office. So what this means for Randy, Gary, and I is that technically we're still in office until the first meeting, until our positions are filled. If we decide to appoint someone after our interview process today, that person will take office immediately in order to fill the vacant seat. I'd like to be at the first meeting in order to welcome the new counselors, administer the oath of office, and thank the outgoing counselors. I'm having total knee replacement done next week, so I'm not sure if I'll be well enough to make the January 15th meeting. So I wanted to talk about maybe pushing that back by a week or two, and I just wanted to see how the other counselors felt about that.
Well, Merry Christmas on that knee replacement.
Yeah, exactly. Brand new knee.
Yeah, I hope that goes well, Shauna.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, I'm fine with pushing the meeting to whenever's convenient for the rest of the council.
Thanks, Randy.
I also had a brief statement I wanted to read.
Okay, let me wrap mine up first.
Sure.
Quite done yet? Does anybody else have any opposition to pushing the meeting back by a week or two? Obviously, we'll have to, schedule it with the staff's calendar.
No objection on my part.
Yeah, I
Thanks,
don't have an objection, but it might have been, I don't think it was noticed or anything yet, but I believe there's been, at least maybe it's just been talk about having it, what was it, the 15th of January? I don't remember the date.
Yeah, the 15th would be the regular date. We have a planning commission meeting scheduled for January 22nd, which would be the week after.
Okay.
Hmm.
It's fine. Whatever you do.
Thanks, Denny. Does anybody have a suggestion of another date? I mean, I hate pushing it out to the end of January, but the later it is, the better for me, because I'll close by then.
Trying to pull up a calendar.
I mean, could we do it on like Tuesday, January 21st, maybe, or?
I
I'll give-
don't think I have anything scheduled then.
Does that work for everyone else? The 21st?
21st, let me look. Yeah, the 21st in the evening I have open.
Great. Denny, does that work for you? And Randy?
Yeah, I think I'm available at this time. So the 21st, 6 o'clock.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. I don't want to miss out on an opportunity to welcome the new people and thank the old people. The last thing I wanted to say is just a personal note. I want to thank, oh, hold on, my screen froze. On a personal note, I'd like to thank all of the wonderful community members who've offered their support and encouragement to me since I became the mayor of our town. I truly appreciate those of you who are able to recognize what a challenging time this is for our city and the fact that we counselors are honestly trying to do the best we can. Did we always get it right? Maybe not. But did we get it right most of the time? I would say yes. Our job is to listen to the community members' concerns, listen to the city staff, listen to the advisors and consultants, and then render a decision. We have done our best, and we have done the work selflessly, and with wholehearted conviction. My hope for the incoming counselors is that they will be able to work side by side with the remaining counselors in a productive, civil, and mature fashion. There is an enormous learning curve to this position, so even if you think that you know everything, trust me, you will have a lot to learn. Please take the time to fine-tune your active listening skills in order to gain a deeper understanding of the issues. Try not to make impulsive, emotional comments during the meetings. Be prepared to listen and learn. It's okay to ask questions as long as you are treating others with respect. Okay, I'm going to step down from my proverbial soapbox and get to the reason why we're here. To start the oh, I'm sorry, Randy, you said you had a statement to make.
Yeah, I'll be brief. First, I just wanted to say that peaceful protest is a bedrock of democracy and freedom of speech. So, brief statement. Good afternoon. Attending a 1 o'clock council meeting on a Friday before Christmas and by Zoom, which was announced an hour ago, can be problematic. So I wanted to thank everyone in the community who is viewing this meeting today. King City has an established process for filling council vacancies that must be followed. I have been informed that an attorney contacted the city attorney today that we are not in compliance with Municipal Code Chapters 2.38, which covers the required process for filling council vacancies, and also 1.04.070 for the computation of time to establish deadlines. I've had a chance to review the code and do the math and agree. When today was chosen as the date to interview and appoint a new counselor, it was assumed new city staff had applied the code correctly, but they haven't. On Monday, city staff refused to accept 2 applications for the city council. This is not the first time there have been allegations that the city might be orchestrating a council appointment not in compliance with the municipal code. We are once again deviating from the city's own established rules. The appointment process requires the council to make every effort to fill the vacancy within 3 months, but here we are at a special Zoom meeting on a Friday afternoon with just 11 days left before the newly elected council takes office. Correction, whatever Shauna said, the 21st, I guess. Trying to beat the clock and rush through this appointment. There are 4 applicants here today, 2 that expended resources in campaign and 2 that did not. There are 6 city councilors, just 2 of whom were elected and 4 that were appointed and unelected. Personal feelings and biases have been expressed by councilors, probably including myself. Who on the council has personal relationships with the applicants or their spouses? Who supported the recall and who opposed it? This selection process is tainted in every possible way. The appointment should be left to the voters. This is what the community is advocating for the choices they made in last month's election. What the council is attempting to do here by appointment is indefensible. King City has been in court twice this year for failing to listen to the voters' will. Once for trying to illegally circumvent the recall vote, and then for unconstitutionally trying to defend the appointment of a recalled councilor. The city lost both cases in court. If the council proceeds today with appointing a new councilor, I fear the city may be headed back to court once again. We all took an oath of office to uphold the ordinances of King City, and we would be violating that oath by taking part in this appointment process today. We must follow King City ordinances. Well, refresher, the King City oath of office is as follows. I do solemnly swear that I will, to the best of my ability, faithfully fulfill and discharge the duties of the office to which I've been appointed, and that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the laws of the state of Oregon, and the ordinances of the city of King City. Almost done. I'm quoting a rule for executive sessions, and I'm applying it to this situation. It reads as follows. If a governing body member is in executive session and realizes that the topics being discussed are unauthorized or exceed the scope permitted by the statutory provision cited, the governing body member should state their objections to discussing the unauthorized topic, announce on the record that they are leaving the executive sessions, and leave this session. Finally, today's attempt to appoint a city councilor is not in compliance with the municipal code, is a violation of my oath of office, and is contrary to the will of the people I represent. I object to this proceeding, and I'm announcing for the record that I can't be a part of it, and I am leaving now.
Okay, bye, Randy.
Bye-bye.
So just to, again, repeat myself so that I can tell you the facts versus the fiction that was just said by Councillor Olson. I quoted the same section that he quoted, section 2.38.020A. Maybe he didn't hear what I was saying. Maybe he wasn't listening. Maybe he muted me. But it says in our charter, which we followed to a T, that applications should be accepted for 30 days. The applications that we received on December 16th were 32 days after the publication. So it's easy math to do. You just count the days. So we're not doing anything wrong. We're doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing. Furthermore, the 5 days that we're supposed to allow for application, today's the 20th, right? The public notice was on November 15th. So I think that's pretty easy math to do too. We are 100% within the limits of our charter, and that's exactly why we, the council, made the decision to choose these dates.
And so if you agree with what the mayor just said, I certainly do, but you're the ones that are entitled to be able to interpret your code. If you agree with what she said, could you affirmatively on the record say so?
Yes, I agree with what Mayor said and the interpretation of our charter.
I totally agree.
I agree.
So that Randy also made statements related to an executive session. I just want to confirm that we are not in executive session. We are in open session. There are, per Mike's computer, 23 participants that are participating via Zoom. And if you share that belief that we're not in executive session, if you could affirmatively say so for the record.
Yes, we're not in executive session. We're in a
Correct.
public.
I also agree that we're not in executive session.
No, we're not. It's called a work session, correct?
Yeah, it's a work session followed immediately by open
By a regular meeting. Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
The
Special
other
session.
thing that I think we need
I
to,
did not, I need.
sorry, he's discussed it.
All right. There were statements made that seemed to imply that this was a quasi judicial hearing. Just for, you guys have all been through this, but I put it on the record. So if you're doing a quasi judicial hearing, you're having to make decisions based on certain parameters. So if you have like competing proposals, you would say the reason that I am doing this or not doing that is based on substantial evidence in the record. What another type of decision that we make is a legislative decision. A legislative decision is when you can base it off of whatever you want for whatever reason you want. So when we're doing quasi judicial, we have a whole script that the mayor reads where she says, you know, was there any ex parte contact? Was there any, you know, did you do a site visit? All those things, because it's usually for a land use matter. And also, does anyone have a bias? And we go through that script and everyone announces whether there've been any ex parte contact, whether there's been a site visit, et cetera, because it has to be based on the substantial record. Another type of decision that we do, which is generally on citywide proposals, is called legislative. And the legislative can be based off of any evidence. The mayor doesn't read a script related to ex parte contact generally, or bias, because you're allowed to have bias and you're allowed to have an ex parte contact and you're allowed to base it on whatever factors you want. So this, in my mind, is a legislative decision because you're not having to explain why you're making a decision that you want, and you're not having to make the decision based off of substantial evidence in the record. You're able to decide whatever you want to do and not announce it. And if you agree with that analysis, I need you to affirmatively agree with that on the record.
I agree.
Yes, I agree.
I agree.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're all in agreement that this is a legislative decision that is being made on those grounds. If you want to explain your reasoning or why you're voting in the manner that you are, you're free to do so, but you're under no requirement. There are a couple of objective criteria that people have to meet in order to be considered. That is a preliminary matter that is looked at, and once that hurdle is passed, much like timelines, then we go to this, which is subjective and based on what you believe to be best.
Great. Thanks, Peter. All right. Is there anything else we need to discuss before we move on to why we're here, which is interviewing these applicants that so kindly applied for this vacant position on the council? Is there anyone that has anything to add?
No, I mean, I was just wondering, did Councillor Olson just recuse himself from this meeting, or did he resign completely? I'm not sure if I caught all of that.
I'm not really sure either. You know, he was in the meeting, he was in the executive session when we all came up with these dates and we all discussed it together. We're all very careful to make sure that we were doing it correctly. So I'm very surprised and disappointed by his accusations against us, because he's part of the team, or he was part of the team. So I'm not sure if he's continuing.
Yeah, I wasn't clear. I just not sure. Okay.
I was surprised for sure, because it just happened, and did a count of how many people who actually live in King City on that signed petition. There are a total of 44 people that actually live in King City versus the 236 names. So it feels a bit awkward to address this. So anyway.
Yeah, I did the same thing, Jan, because I was interested, because I did see a lot of addresses that were not only in other states, but other countries. So I did a deep dive as well to see just how many zip codes were even our zip code. And it was far less than half. So, you know, we all know how excited
Yeah.
are some of these plans, and we are able to see past that. Unfortunately, you know,
Yeah.
I mean,
it was 18% to be precise.
okay. All right. So anyone else have anything to add before we get to the interviews?
I do have just one thing to add. If you'll recall, I think our executive session was following a legal case on November 12th. So we had that executive session immediately following. And that's when the staff received direction from the council to post those notices. And that was November 13th. So that's even 2 days earlier than.
Those were posted on the city's website.
Yeah. So then we posted it on the city's website. We mailed it out to the Oregonian. Everything was sent out that day.
And I believe it was reported on by the local paper.
So there's plenty of opportunity, ample opportunity to apply and meet the deadlines in the notice.
Yeah. And everything we've done has been completely by the book. I feel very comfortable with all the decisions we've made, but I do want to point out that, you know, we're interviewing people today. Are we gonna, I don't know, we'll see. You know, people are getting all excited about something that hasn't even happened. And it's our duty to do this process. We're elected officials and we don't have a choice. This is what we have to do. So we're just doing what the charter is telling us that we have to do. So there's no conspiracy. The staff isn't trying to, you know, throw someone in there that no one I mean, all of the conspiracy theories are, quite frankly, just getting out of control. So I would like to proceed with the interviews, and unless somebody else has something else to add.
No, I agree. Let's move on with these interviews.
Okay, great. So I had planned to interview Gretchen first, and the reason I was Ms. Beaner, the reason I was going to, or Boehner, I think. Can I call you Gretchen? Is that okay? Can we promote Gretchen as a panelist, please? I feel like I always get your last name wrong and I don't want to sound disrespectful. So is it okay if I call you Gretchen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The reason I wanted to do your interview first, Gretchen, is because several of us have had the opportunity already in the past to interview you for this position. There were a couple people on the council that haven't. One of them was Randy. So I was going to give Randy the opportunity to kind of lead the questions for you. So that really just leaves Denny, because I believe Jan was on the council when we originally interviewed Gretchen. Is that correct, Jan?
Yes.
Okay. So Denny, if you feel comfortable with it, would you start us off with a question for Gretchen?
First of all, I worked with Gretchen in 2017 on the council, so I am very familiar with her, and she's a very nice lady. The questions I would have of everybody are consistent, and that is, I believe that this position should be filled with someone that's not biased, that's has no agenda, that's going to get in the way of teamsmanship, and a person who has ethics, and that means we don't tell stories that aren't true. We don't twist truths. And so those are things I'm looking for. I think this person that we're about to select has to have those traits. And I know Gretchen very well. The only questions I would ask is, are you going to hold true to your past? Because you've been a very good help. That's all I have.
Miss Mayor and councilors, I am committed to do what's best for the city of King City. It's important to look at the entirety of the city and the difficulties that we face in the future. We have to recognize we have to deal with issues with the county, metro, and the state, often who will have mandates that we are required to follow. So with that, I would do my best for the city of King City.
Thank you, Gretchen. Yeah, I know that you have a long history of volunteerism in our city, and I just want to say thank you for all of those years and all of those hours that you've put in, and thank you for even wanting to get back in it again, because it's a roller coaster of a ride. I think you'd agree.
Yes.
Jan or Mark, do you have any questions for Gretchen?
I didn't really have any more questions for Gretchen. I just didn't know if she wanted to provide any additional information from previous interviews that we've done with her. And like you said, I didn't work with her on previous councils, but I was on planning commission while she was a counselor, so I have worked with her in that capacity. And so
I will just make one more comment. Tigard and King City are involved with the National League of Cities, and while I was a counselor in both cities, I took all the classes that were provided by the National League with respect to city councilors nationwide, and I went through bronze, silver, gold, and became a platinum member of that organization. And one of the obligations of being a platinum member is to be a mentor to city councilors in my state, which I have been doing over the past 5 years.
Great, thank you for that, Gretchen. And do you have a question?
Go ahead. I have worked with Gretchen on the Planning Commission, and I find her extremely knowledgeable and willing to speak up when she sees things that are either right or wrong within a discussion. And when somebody presents information, she'll say, tell me more about this, or I don't understand, or whatever, but she keeps the conversation moving forward and informed. And I very much appreciate that.
Great, thank you, Jan. Does anyone else have any further questions for Gretchen?
no, I don't.
Well, Gretchen, I'm going to let you go early unless you would like to stay on and listen to the other interviews. You're welcome to. And once again, I just want to thank you. So I'm looking down at your picture. Once again, I just want to thank you so much for applying. Thank you for all of the service that you've given to our city. You are a valuable member of our community. And with that, I'm going to let you be depromoted as a panel, unless you have any final words.
Thank you very much for considering me.
Thanks, Gretchen.
Thanks, Gretchen.
Okay. Next up, why don't we call up Stephen Gearhart? Stephen, are you?
How's that? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you. Thank you.
I love saying that.
We'd love to see you if you wouldn't mind turning your camera on,
Okay.
if you feel comfortable. You don't have to.
Yeah, I do. heck I dressed for this occasion here. So this Zoom is totally different than anything else I've seen. So how do we turn on the camera? Shoot.
Oh, Mike might
Ian,
have.
let me try to do something really quick. Okay, I'm gonna promote you to panelist, okay? And
Okay.
that will allow you to
Alright.
use your camera. Sorry. Maybe I'll.
Join as a panelist.
Yeah, click yes on that one, and then it should allow you to.
And then just find start video and unmute icons.
I don't know if you're on a Mac, it should be on your lower
Yeah.
left.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you. Yeah.
And start
There it
video.
goes.
Hi.
All right.
You're
See, I
looking
wore a white shirt just for you guys.
very, very nice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for applying.
You bet.
Yeah, I know you ran in the election in November and you very narrowly came in fourth. It was, I think, what, like a handful of votes, 5 or 6, 7 maybe votes. So clearly you have a lot of community support and, you know, a very, really valuable member of our community as well. I know you attend a lot of, probably all of the council meetings, and you know, it's great to have really qualified applicants like you putting your applications in. And I just want to say I really appreciate you doing so.
I would like to make a quick comment. I'm sorry that there is people protesting outside City Hall. It's humbling to know that they support me, but it is not something that I support. Anyway, my apologies.
Well, I really appreciate you clarifying that, because, you know, that is a question mark in our head is, oh, is this something that Steve helped organize? So I'm glad you pointed that out, because that's important for us to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I do want to say, I respect people's right to protest, a peaceful I have nothing wrong with the First Amendment rights that we have. And so anyway, but thank you. Do you have any words you want to share with us before we start drilling you with questions?
Sure. Well, since we're all in the mood for reading statements, I have a quick one, okay? I think we all agree there needs to be balance for representation to the city council. Every resident needs to know they have someone in leadership looking out for them. While out in the community talking with friends and neighbors, I hear and understand the concerns regarding new home development and environmental concerns, along with dangerous driving speeds, deteriorating sidewalk conditions, and numerous safety issues.
Oh, we lost you.
We lost your audio.
That's weird.
Yeah, very weird. Steve, can you hear us? We lost your audio.
Video froze too. Shoot. Yeah, internet.
Sounds
Connect.
Of our growing city.
Oh, you're back. We lost you for a minute there, Steve.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you froze and we couldn't hear your audio.
Oh, how long ago?
Like 10
10
seconds.
seconds. 15 seconds.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can.
Okay. For the last several years, I've attended just about every city council meeting, sitting in the back row, watching and listening. For the last several years, I've been front and center, being an active participant in meetings regarding the future of our growing city. This includes several meetings with the New Home Company and Metropolitan Land Group. I wanted to make sure these entities understood our concerns as they plan to bring 3,600 residents into our community. Other meetings include with our mayor, city manager, roundtable meetings, OGEC certification, budget committee meetings, community outreach meetings, and so on. There will be no learning curve for me. I will immediately contribute to city council. Other applicants in today's process may not have the same advantage because they just haven't participated in what's happening to our community. As your newest council member, I will bring a measured, nonpartisan, non-biased, and non-agenda voice to issues involving our community. The current climate of unrest instead of unity, court lawsuits instead of collaboration. Indifference instead of understanding needs to come to an end. I will provide balance to the council. I will make sure residents feel equally represented. I will be a calming voice to mend fences. I will set a positive example that we are all working together and have a common vision for King City. I will be proactive and not reactive. I will also make sure we have fun. I will be a part of a team that makes the transition from bad to good happen. I look forward to serving with you. Thank you.
Well said, Steve. Thank you. I will just go ahead and open it up to questions from my fellow counselors. If you'd like, I can call on you. Jan, do you have any questions for Steve?
I have to think about what kind of questions I would ask. I have read your resume and it's very impressive. You've done a lot of volunteer work, and for the couple of years that I was on the planning commission and now on the city council, I see you there. And so I know that, you know, you're somebody who is educating himself in what's happening in his community. And I think that that's one of the biggest jobs as a counselor that we have. So I guess my question is what role do you see yourself as a counselor? What will you emphasize?
Good question, Councilor Tai. So I appreciate that. It's like I've learned in my career. I think being a peacemaker, bringing two sides together, has been my my focus. And I learned a lot at working for Leupold and Stevens for 13 years. And I think I mentioned this in the past interviews, where my job there was to bring the manufacturing department and the marketing department together. The manufacturing people would make, say, 10,000 parts that are maybe just a little bit outside of the print. My job was to go through the numbers in engineering and make sure that a defective part didn't affect the optics of the rifle scope. And then I had marketing manager telling me, Steve, don't you ever degrade our image in our scopes. So here there is thousands and thousands of dollars of parts that somebody really wants me to buy off and okay. And then we have the marketing people who say, you cannot degrade our image. So two opposing factions, and I'm in the middle, and I have to justify my decision and bring these two people together. And that actually was a lot of fun being in that role. I don't know if that answers your question, Councilor Tyso, but I think that in today's climate, the critical path is bringing parties together, making peace.
I
Okay.
would agree. I don't think I have other questions for Steve. I think you are sort of the model volunteer community member, so.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mark, do you have any questions for Steve?
No further questions that I can think of, because I remember interviewing you back last time around. And, just to kind of sentiment what Councilor Tyso, you've been a great steward. Seems like every community you've lived in, right? You've been active and involved. And I appreciate that, you were talking about the protest today, and you don't condone it, even though I do believe in everyone's right to a free speech. But I'm wondering what you feel, and maybe your take is on cyberbullying and what, things that happen online, directed maybe not to you, but or a body that you might be a part of.
Good question, Counselor. I didn't expect that one, but
Trying to keep you on your toes.
yeah, I guess. Good job. So I have 3 daughters, and they're actually perfect people. And there's one thing I don't tolerate is bullying at all, not under any circumstances. Even in high school, when bullies would pick on the weak, I would pick on the bullies. I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I've gotten in a couple of fights out in the back field because I was picking on the bully. There's absolutely no room for that. And now in cyberspace, I mean, that's such a prevalent problem that I mean, kids today, we have a 5.5-year-old granddaughter who she's also perfect, and man, talk about a grandfather taking care of a little girl. We're very, very protective. I don't know if that answers your question, Mark, but I'm pretty adamant about there is no room for bullying.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, do you have any other questions for Steve?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Denny, you're up.
First of all, Steve, how's your heart doing?
Yeah, that's right. Thank you for that question, Counselor. It's actually doing quite well. As you know, I had triple bypass surgery, and they only kept me in the hospital for 3 days, which I believe was some kind of a record. And that's not necessarily a testament to how good my health is, but I'm very happy that things are progressing very nicely.
Let me put a statement about Steve. Steve and I had a conversation yesterday, and I gave him my concerns about anybody that joins the council, that they have to be, in my summation, uninvolved with other groups. They have to be unbiased. They have to be honest and ethical. And one of the things I can say about our very charismatic Steve, I trust him, and I don't think that he would sell the city out for some other people's preferences. So yeah, Steve and I are friends, and I hope we keep that friendship no matter what happens.
Thank you, Counselor. I appreciate that very much and support that. I have a motto that I stole from the AA program, and that is, I live my life with rigorous honesty. Now, sometimes my wife doesn't appreciate that, but that's the direction I'm going.
I like that, Steve.
Thank you.
Denny, do you have any other questions or comments?
No, I'm good. Thank you so much.
Great. Steve, I have a couple questions. If you were appointed to the seat, who would you like to see fill my position of mayor? And who would you like to see fill the position of council president?
Good question, Mayor. You're referring to the potential new candidates, or the new counselors?
Well, yeah, there'll be three new counselors, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I would like to see me as mayor. I think I would do a very good job. And I'm repeating myself, but it's so important to bring this community together. Mike Weston and I have talked, and there are some huge challenges with the new city council, and 2 of those challenges we need to bring together. Mike has talked about having a session where people learn something about team building. I think that's critically important. As a project manager in my career, I've learned If you don't do team building in the beginning, the very, very first step, then you've lost everything. So that I support that 100%. I don't know if I answered your question. I think I forgot your question, Mayor.
You would vote for yourself, which is great.
Okay.
Who would you like to see as the council president?
Shoot, is Mark still going to be here?
It sure is.
Yes, at the very least, Mark Vanellis.
That is a good answer. My next question for you is a touchy one, but I would like to ask it anyway. If you were to be appointed to the vacant seat, do you have plans to replace the city manager and or the city attorney?
No, I don't have plans to do that. One thing that you may have heard during a community forum was a discussion about performance reviews. I'm in my business career, I'm a huge proponent of performance reviews for all employees, and I think that's something necessary in city government also. But I have no plans to fire anybody or whatever.
Okay, great. Thanks, Steve.
Yep.
Anyone have any?
I agree that performance reviews are a good thing, but I know in the corporate world where I'm currently at, they're a dying breed. It's all written and just posting stuff online, and then your boss reviews it and you never hear anything. So that's where we're going now in the corporate world.
Yep.
Have any follow-up questions for Steve before we bid him adieu?
Yeah, I do. If the new members of the council have completely different ideas than you just spoke of, what are you going to do?
What I've always done, and that is, first and foremost, I need to listen to them. Just because their opinion is different than my opinion doesn't mean that I shouldn't respect them and listen to what they have to say. And it's amazing how when people are listened to, they are a lot more receptive to new ideas. And I think we can bring them around.
Thanks, Steve.
Yep.
All right, anyone else? Speak now or
Yeah, thank you for applying and making the change for today's venue of our meeting. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
thanks so much, Steve. I really appreciate you applying. I appreciated that you ran for office. And I guess we will interview the rest of the applicants. If you have anything else further to say, we'll let you go.
Okay, I will just sit here in the back row and listen.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks so much, Steve.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next up, I would like to invite John Hartman to introduce himself, and we will ask him some questions.
I just sent you a request, John. There you go.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here today via Zoom and for applying to be on this call. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself to us, John?
Sure. I'm John Hartman. I'm a King City resident of just about 2.5 years. We moved away during the pandemic and chose to come to King City. And I know that I didn't run. I've already seen some online comments about the fact that I'm in this meeting today, that I didn't run and am now choosing to join the meeting today and apply. And I wasn't trying to attack and be part of a popularity contest that it seemed like the last election was. And I don't have the experience that the others have, and I think that I can actually add a voice, similar to what Stephen is saying. I have a very long career in project management, and the team building, all those aspects that we just talked about. That is what my career is. And I hope that I can add a voice to the group of just finding an equitable solution. I'm not a fan of the discourse that our city and our community has come to, and we're at this point, and I would love to be able to be a part of helping push it to the next step.
Great. Thank you so much, John. That was a great introduction. Everyone's had a chance to review your application, and like you have a lot of really great experience that would bring a lot of asset. You'd be an asset, I think, to the team for sure with your experience. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions. I'm going to start with Jan. Jan, do you have any questions for John?
Not particularly. It looks like your career has been definitely in construction project management forever and ever, and which is great because you, with that, you have, how do I say this? You also have a lot of academics behind your name as well. And so, and design team relationships, and I think that is something that as a city council, we need to really emphasize, and that design team concept, I think, needs to be part of our community as a whole. So I'm hoping that whoever we choose today, assuming we're going to choose somebody today, can help bring that particular skill set to move us forward instead of leaving us in a stagnant situation. So my question is what kinds of ideas do you see yourself bringing to council?
I thought about this question, and thank you for the question. I think it might be, and pardon me, I don't have some of the experience that Sunset does, like I said, but I feel like there needs to be more community engagement. There needs to be town halls, there needs to be open forums for discussion, not just city councils, but outside. People clearly feel like they don't have a voice in the future. And the fact of the matter is this group gets to make those decisions because that's the way a city works. But there's always an equitable outcome. So from the bidding documents to the design teams to the consultants, that's where I specialize. Those are the things that I do day in and day out. I understand contracts, I negotiate. So through that, and then managing my own team, I'm part of a 70-person office in Portland that manages commercial construction. I understand how to get things to move. Not everybody will always be happy, I understand that. But there is always a way to move forward, and I hope that I can help be a voice in pushing that forward.
Okay, I think that's kind of my main question, and I might think of something later prompted by somebody else's question, but I'll let somebody else take a go at it at this point.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jan. Mark, you're up.
Thanks, John. Appreciate applying, and thanks for being flexible and joining us on Zoom.
Of course.
Just reading over your resume, like I think it's been said many times, and you even said it right. There's no city government per se experience being on a council. However, it looks like you might have experience working with governmental agencies.
Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of just maybe explain that and like the contract, understanding the
Sure.
contract process and how to read maps and plat maps and plans, right?
Yep.
And then I'll have a follow-up after that.
Sure. There's a couple answers in there for sure, but the plans part, I mean, I can be honest, not everybody knows how to read a set of plans. It is a learned skill that we focus early in people's careers on understanding how to read plots, how to do layout, how to do survey. What does that mean? Taking plots all the way through construction. So that is something that I know I have a very strong skill set. I've been doing it since I was a teenager, reading plans and constructing. So I hope that I can help communicate plan to reality, and teach people a better way to see what they're looking at when it just comes to a piece of paper. Not everybody can see the 3D world on a 2D drawing. So that's part of it. Contracting, I mean, I negotiate contracts with clients and owners and landowners. That's part of my current role. We develop contracts from scratch. We negotiate other people's contracts. So contract negotiation and understand the give and take in all of that world is kind of second nature at this point in my career. Again, I know I can be a help. I've thought of even talking to Mike Weston about how to better get, when we put a public bid out, like I look at public bid sites they come out every Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I never see anything for King City. So I know that there's a wider way to get even our public contracts out to a wider market for better buying power. And then down to negotiating final deals is literally what I try to pride myself on being great at.
Thank you. And, coming from the construction industry, you probably know that there's a plan and then there's what actually happens, right? You have to be flexible, and there's changes in those plans, especially coming from a concept. You might have a design draw, and then there's a change that something has to happen. Just being familiar, how familiar you are with planning and having to be able to make a change or if something's not going to work, we have to go back to the drawing board.
I smile because I find that what you just explained is what I find the most exciting in my career. Is tomorrow is never the same as it is today. We can come up with a conceptual plan. I'm sure everybody who's watching online has read and tries to understand what the Fisher Road expansion says on paper. That's not what it's going to look like in 10 years. It's not. We're going to find something in that dirt that's going to make us move a road. We're going to have to move a park, something. Nothing ever ends up being the way it starts from the drawing board. But there's always contingencies. There's plan A's and plan B's. That's why contractors like myself are hired, is find the most equitable solution. And that equitable solution is like my thought is, even how I manage my teams, is there's never going to be a solution where everybody's 100% happy, but there's always a solution that everybody can live with. And that's how progress is made. No matter what size, no matter what project, there's always an equitable solution.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Denny, you are next.
Yes, John. Let me state that I'm very impressed with your qualifications. Matter of fact, I hope I understand what you're talking about, because you are definitely up there.
Thank you.
Have you ever been part of our community difficulties?
I will say personally, I have never gotten involved in the community difficulties, as you say. If I can read into your question a little, I'm sure a lot of people know who my wife is, and she's very vocal in the community and has strong opinions. But other than that, I have tried to stay out of that piece, because it's not, I don't find pleasure in the discourse, but it's gotten to a point where I don't want to live in a community that has such, I will almost say, hatred towards certain groups of each other. And I feel like that just needs to be fixed. And I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. As I said before, we're looking for, at least I'm looking for, an adult in the room. We are all adults, but when we have bias, I think we lose some of that aspect.
Completely agree.
I guess my question here would be, can you be a person that stands without bias, who doesn't join our council with agenda or hidden agenda? How are you going to vote by situation and be an independent voter?
If everybody's willing to take me at my word, I absolutely will do that. I'm not swayed by others' thoughts and decisions. It's part of the career I've built is kind of similar to what Steven said, is the easiest part of never lying is you don't have to ever try to chase the lie. It's always truthful. It's always upfront. So I lead my entire teams of being unbiased decisions. Truth hurts, but you got to own it. So no, I absolutely would be a unbiased decision maker. To me, it's all about the forward process.
Next question. We deal with assumptions and insinuations coming at the council. Most of them are not based in truth or honesty. Are you swayed by those at all?
No. Similar to talking through dealing with public agencies and some of that, I've always tried to make sure that I understand my own platform before I address anything to a meeting or to a group. I do have strong feelings and strong convictions in my own beliefs, but those beliefs are founded under my own research and my own knowing of how to look at something.
Thanks, John.
Yep. Thank you, Denny.
I think I'm good for now, but I will tell you, I'm impressed.
Thank you, John. I'm going to just ask you the same question that I asked Steve, because I think it's interesting to hear people's responses to the question of if you were appointed to this vacant seat, who do you think would be a good person to fill my position of mayor? And who do you think would be a good president?
I won't vote for myself. I'll be honest. I don't have the experience or the know-how quite yet to say that. I mean, I've known Mark for quite some time. I know he's been involved with the city for the longest time. I would probably put my vote with Mark currently. President, I guess I would have to hold my vote for now, as I still would like to get to know everybody more personally to make a personal decision. I know that doesn't fully answer the question, but that's the honest response I have.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you being honest. It's tricky because in your very first meeting, you have to elect these people into these positions, and you haven't even worked with the people before. So I hope that I'm one of the people that's involved in changing, making some revisions to the charter at some point, because it seems silly to me that such a big decision is made on the very first day that you've sat next to these people. And I'll ask you the same question that I asked Steve. Do you have any plans to replace the city manager or the city attorney if you were to be appointed to this position?
Absolutely not. I believe that they've done a fine job in the role that they've provided. I agree that implementing either seen by others in the city or this council, making sure that there are performance reviews. And Mark, I would disagree with you. There are plenty of performance reviews I owe in the next couple of weeks. They do exist, but I think there's metrics. There's things that can be put in place to make sure that everybody's being held accountable. And a yearly performance review, which Mark is referring to, I agree that's gone the way of the dodo. That doesn't work. Talking about somebody's performance once a year doesn't actually help us get better. So thinking through a more quarterly process or biannual process that's every 6 months, I think that's the way to think about something like that. But no, I wouldn't replace anybody. I would actually prefer to give everybody more tools to be more successful.
Great. Great answer. I'm going to circle back and see if anyone has any further questions for John or follow-up questions.
No, I'm good. The annual review is the one I was kind of referring to, but yes, with my supervisory team, right, I bi-weekly check-ins just to make sure things are going on track, but
we do the same weekly one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Great.
Perfect. I like that. It's because it opens and fosters good communication.
I'm so sorry. Anyone else have any other comments?
One more, if you don't mind. I think the last meeting, somebody stepped up, and I will use no names, and kind of accused or warned us not to have nepotism, not to be unethical, and a couple of other things. And these things come at you, which I was shocked to have to feel that kind of a thing, because I had only been on the council for a couple months, and I thought that was a bad way of making friends. How are you going to feel when somebody comes at you saying, you're not ethical?
A good question. I would have to, well, as long as it is an adult conversation, I would start with questions. I never will understand how someone will make accusations without having facts. So I always try to start, even teaching the younger people in my career, I try to teach through questions and try to understand active listening skills. So people can say what they want. It doesn't mean they know the whole truth. So if it was directed at me, the first thing I would do is ask questions of why they've formed that opinion. I mean, I work in a business that is, contractual obligations, bid documents, we work through ethics all day. And I would stake my claim on my 24-year career that I've never crossed an ethical line.
John, one more thing. How are you going to deal with printed statements about us, about you, that are untrue?
So whatever. People can think what they want.
Good. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the questions.
That was my favorite response of yours, John.
You can't manage everybody.
Right, exactly. Well, John, thank you. Unless that anybody has any other questions, Jan? Follow
No.
up?
I'm good.
I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye to John, and thank you so much for your application. Thank you for taking the time today to answer our questions. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome to the meeting, but we're going to mute you and turn your camera off now. And we're going to promote Cynthia McCullough. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your last name right. To a panelist, please. Mike.
Cindy, you should be getting something from me. There you go. I think we have you on, Cindy. If you come off mute and turn on your video, should be good. Hang on one second. When I call her. She had a little technical problem. She's gonna log back in and we'll try to re-promote her. It wasn't letting her come off mute.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
There you go, Cindy. We should be able to hear
Okay.
you. There you go.
Sorry about that. Don't know what happened, but
I think we got you. You should be able to open your video. If you'd like. There,
on.
we got you.
Okay, great.
Hi, Cindy. I'm
Hi,
Shauna.
Hi,
Nice.
everybody.
Thank you for joining us today via Zoom.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for take a minute or two and just introduce yourself to us. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm new to King City. Been here since March of this year. We moved from Georgia, Atlanta, We have 2 grandbabies here, which is why we're here. I jumped in and joined the Budget and Finance Committee of KCCA back in April after I read a newsletter article requesting more volunteers. And after a little bit of service on that committee, and people finding out my background, they said, "Oh, you need to run for the board." And I said, "But I don't know anybody. I'm brand new. I'm the new kid." So I ran and I was elected and happy to serve on the board. I'm the new kid. I got one of the, how do I say this, lowest assignments, Landscape Architecture and Review Committee, where we get to talk to people about any violations or complaints. But I brought a lot of positivity in that role, and we've made a difference in the community. My background is public service, and I have a passion I did in both my professional and my personal life for service. I think we're all here to help each other. And I've shown that in both my career and my community involvement. Thank you.
Yeah, looking at your application, I see you are involved in so many things, and you've only been here for what, 7 months?
Yes.
10 committees or not committees. You're definitely a star volunteer, that's for sure. So thank you for all that you do for all of these different organizations that you volunteer with. I'm going to go ahead and open it up to my fellow counselors for their questions first, and we're going to start with Jan.
Okay. I see that you have a graduate certificate program in project management and master's in education with parks and public administration. I mean, your list of academics is very impressive, and you have taken those academics, it appears, to your professional career. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes. I'm a strong believer that local government can make a difference to its constituents. And that was my impetus for, out of college, I went to work for a local government outside of Atlanta. And worked there for a number of years, worked with the county manager and the board of commissioners, and left for a few years to go into insurance and investments, which I decided wasn't doable with family. It was a little too rigorous of a schedule. So then I went back to work for the school board and worked in budget and finance with all the local schools and planning and managing annual budgets, as well as doing training for local school administrators and leadership candidates. And in my personal life as well, I'm very committed to being involved. I've been active in a number of organizations and led a number of organizations as president, treasurer, secretary. I had the honor of coaching the Georgia International Special Olympics team that went to Notre Dame a few years back, and that was a once in a lifetime experience. So I feel like I have a pretty well-rounded background, and like I said, I have a servant heart. So it's my passion to jump in and help.
With that passion and your experience, what do you think you see your role on city council?
I see my role being listening, learning, doing my due diligence, all the research that is absolutely possible to make any informed decision. And when I make a decision, I follow the 4 tenets. Is it true? Is it fair? Is it reasonable? And is it beneficial?
That sounds like Rotary.
Yeah, bing, bing, bing.
Yeah, I wrote that.
Or Socrates. If you leave out Socrates said true, kind, and
Yeah.
fair, right?
You're right. Yeah. Anyway, okay, well, I'm going to give up my spot for somebody else to question you further.
Okay, thanks.
Mark, you're up.
Yep. Thank you, Cindy. Thanks for applying. And like Jan said, very impressive. Lots of government experience. So kind of going back to, my question previously about cyberbullying and or just bullying in general. I think with your being in government, you've probably experienced some of that. Maybe, I don't know if you want to give an example of something or kind of what your thoughts are, interacting and communicating with someone that may not agree with what your thoughts are or position or something like that.
Sure, be glad to. When I was first elected to the board on KCCA, I was not aware that we were not to engage on Nextdoor. So somebody had written a kind of cantankerous post about me being elected as the new kid and not knowing anything about the community and a little bit more. I responded very positively and later found out from our administrator and our president that that was a no-no. So, and I quickly signed my agreement. It included no social media contact, but something good that came out of that was my response was deemed so positive that the board and the administrator chose to take it and include it in an e-blast to our community. My mentor, who was the county manager in Cobb County, taught me to always lead with kindness and respect and understanding, and always be courteous, no matter what the situation. We all have different opinions. We all deserve a voice. And I think it's important to listen to everybody's side of the story, and not be quick to judge, but always respect and consider all of the issues and balance all the opinions. And like I said, is it true? Is it fair? Is it reasonable? And does it help everybody?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I
Jenny?
have for right now.
Okay.
Denny, you're up.
Thank you. Since we had a chance to meet at one of the roundtables, and I found you delightful. I found you friendly. I found that you're intelligent, and you're affable. So
thank you.
Those are some of the things you got to be.
Especially when you're dealing with Clark.
Well, we have had, and I can't say we because I wasn't on the council at the time, but we have had kind of an ugly recall. And KCCA has a number of them over these last years and even plagued with them. if that comes up, how are you going to handle it?
If a recall comes up, how would I handle it? I would, first of all, want to meet and discuss with the people that are requesting the recall and understand their reasoning. Do they have their facts correct? Is it just a vendetta against individual people, or does it truly have a basis? And if it does have a basis, then I think it's important to make sure you're following all the proper rules and regulations and procedures, and that you take the next steps to ensure that it moves forward. And it may be ugly, but I mean, if there's a basis for it and it's necessary, then I would agree that needs to be done.
Cindy, one more question.
Sure.
You're doing a really good job. I live in your community, and I hear that you're doing a great job. So
Thank you.
That on the KCCA board isn't always an issue. and we do thank you, because the thing you're doing right now is very important. So my question is, with all you're doing on the KCCA board, and I know how involved it is because I was president for a few years, are you going to have a lot of time to do the council?
I absolutely will. I'm very good at managing my time and priorities, and I get my work done. Always have and always will.
Cindy, I'm sorry about how abstract my first question was.
I hope I answered it. I think I know what you were talking about.
That's an issue. I mean,
yes.
That method of dealing with things becomes endemic, and I fear it's going to happen again. And so, you got to have pretty tough skin.
Yep, I mean, I do. I've been in the public eye for a number of years, so I've been out there. I know what it's like.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thanks.
So kind of to build off that, Cindy, being involved with KCCA, would your plan be to stay on, if you were appointed for city council, would your plan be to stay also on the KCCA board?
Yes, I can manage both.
Okay. And then how would you?
I don't want to say it's relatively easy right now, but it's in my wheelhouse. I think both are in my wheelhouse. And I am good at managing my time and my priorities. So.
And how would you handle, a possible conflict of interest if something the city was coming up to handle, that had to deal with something, maybe the KCCA, and there was some kind of a conflict?
I would recuse myself if necessary. I'd provide whatever information might be needed, or whatever context might be needed, but I would back out immediately.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Cindy, back to me.
Hi.
I was just curious, what is Tigard UMC?
United Methodist Church.
Oh, okay. So you're a member of the church.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know what that was. And then I also, what was your role in the Special Olympics? You said that you were a mentor.
I was a swim and dive coach for a number of years for our Cobb County team. And then I was asked by Georgia Special Olympics to be the Georgia team coach that went to international. So, yeah, and I was involved in Metro, on the Metro County for Special Olympics, organizing that and actually conducting, the Special Olympics for a number of years.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I bet that.
I got a lot more than I was able to give with that. It was special. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and ask you the same question I asked the other people, because I'm trying to be consistent here, and that's
Sure.
you're newer to the community, you don't know the other counselors, you probably don't know the ones that are newly elected. How is that gonna work for you when you are supposed to elect a new mayor and a new president? How are you going to make that choice?
And that's really tough. Talk about a crazy decision to make. Well, I mean, I've watched a few of the council meetings and familiarized myself with the interactions. So I've been able to watch people. That's tough. It really is. I don't know that it's hard to say. I don't know that I might have to abstain because I just don't have enough information at this point. And I don't like making decisions going in blind. I really like to know people better. I'm not one to follow other people's leads. I like to get my own information and fact check. Wow. Yeah, I'm all for a revision to that rule.
Yeah, I respect your answer to that question, because it's a possible task, really, when you don't know the people that you're.
Crazy. Yeah.
And I mean, I probably don't need to ask you this because I'm guessing I already know your answer, but I'm going to go ahead anyways. Do you have any plans to fire the city manager or the city attorney if you were appointed to this role?
No, I think they're doing an excellent job. I like to commend them for their service and their hard work. And all of my interactions with Mike Weston have been great, as with the rest of the city staff. It's a great group of people. They go above and beyond. And I'm proud to know them and work with them.
Thank you, Cindy.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else have any follow-up questions for Cindy before we let her go?
I don't.
I'm good.
Okay. Well, again, I want to thank you so much, Cindy, for applying, jumping right in. I know you're newer to the community, and I think that's just great that you hit the ground running and you're getting out there and meeting people and making a difference in your community. And I have the highest amount of respect for you for doing that. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for your service.
Thanks. All right. So we will go ahead and mute Cindy or move her back from panelist to attendee. And thank you. So at this point, after we've done these, first of all, do you guys want to take a 5-minute break? I think
Yes, please. I was going to bring that up. Can I take a few minutes?
Take a 5-minute break, and we'll come back at about 2:35.
Perfect.
Okay. See you then. Are we recording, Mike? Looks like we are.
Yeah, we're good.
Well, that was an impressive bunch, I have to say. This is going to be a really tough decision, and I'm not sure how you guys are all feeling about it, but I don't know if I am ready to make a decision today or not. I might need some time to think on this personally, because I want all of them.
Yeah.
So deciding on one is going to be exceptionally challenging, I feel. How are the rest of you feeling?
And I feel like I could make a decision with 4 great candidates.
Yeah, I think all 4 of them are extremely qualified, and that's really quite amazing that King City has 4 people that, I would step aside for some of them.
Can we get a point of clarification? Are we still in a work session? Just as a point, or are we going to go from the work session into open session
Oh,
or special session?
I think we were supposed to roll into a special session now.
Yes.
okay. Work session.
So if
So
you'd
this-
like, we can adjourn the workshop to this special session. And again, this is a legislative decision that's being made. As long as you guys agree that that's the case, because you get to interpret your charter and code. And you can share as much of your deliberative criteria as you want, or none at all, and you can make a decision today, or you can make a decision at a later date. There's some language in the charter that asks, that it happened within a certain amount of time, but there is flexibility as far as when you would make that decision.
Okay, so why don't we, do I need a motion to adjourn the work session? We never called it to order, so I think we just need to close the work session. All those in favor?
Aye.
Go to the record.
Okay, I've got 4-0 to close the adjourn or close the work session and then open the special session.
I need a gavel. I'm gonna call to order the special session on December 20th at 2:38 p.m. Mike, can you do a roll call for us, please?
Certainly. Counselor Gelfand,
Here.
Counselor Tyso,
Here,
President Manellis,
Here.
Mayor Thompson,
Here.
and then absent, excused is Counselor Wallenson. Absent with statement was Counselor Olson.
Statement for the work session, but he did not make a statement for the special session. I would consider his absence an unexcused absence.
Yep.
So it says on our agenda, open forum. I don't remember ever having an open forum for interviews. Is that?
No. It seems like it looks like someone just took the regular agenda. This is a special meeting, special session. I don't think it's open. If you can have one if you want, but you don't have to.
No, I think we've gotten enough community input already on this issue. So unless the rest of you feel differently, I don't think it's necessary. I'm seeing shaking their heads. Denny?
Oh, I don't.
So do I need to change them up?
I think we need to move.
We need a
Move to the next unit.
remove the open forum. I'll entertain that motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of removing the open forum section of this meeting, raise your hand, please.
4-0.
Okay, so new business is discussing and considering the city council appointments. And like I said a minute ago, are you trying to stop?
I just I have a quick ask. At the last council meeting on Wednesday, we had the last 3 items on the agenda where we only had 3 counselors, and 3 out of 6 is half. So there's a question if that is on the borderline of quorum or not. We proceeded, but I'd just like to get council consent on those 3 items. We had a 3-0 vote on all 3 items, but if we could just maybe review those 3 items just briefly at the end of this meeting, or have an early consent that those three items are still approved, which I believe were the October financials, the supplemental budget, and the West Side Trail concept.
I have a hard time because I wasn't here for those, so I have a hard time voting yay or nay. I would probably be an abstention.
That would be fine, I think. That still gives us a quorum. I
Okay.
think a consent to approve all three items, and then if we get a motion in a second, and then Councilor Thompson, you could abstain, and we would still have a quorum.
Okay, yeah. In that motion.
I think Councilor Gelfin, I think, just said something.
So move.
A second.
All right, all those, please raise your hand.
3,
I will abstain.
0, and 1. Thank you. I think that clears up any kind of quorum questions that we might have had at the end of last meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so moving back to the appointment process or the interview process, the interviews that we just had, like I said, all phenomenal applicants, all of them, in my perspective, are very qualified and deserving of this one spot that we have. So it leads us to this really tough decision that we get to discuss now. And like I said a minute ago, I don't know if I'm ready to make that decision because I might need more time to think about it, but I wanted to get the feeling from the rest of you. I think President Manella said that he feels like he's ready to make a decision. So wanted to hear from Jan and Denny and see if you want to take more time to consider these applicants, or if you think that our discussion today will be enough information.
I think all of the candidates were very forthcoming with answering our questions, and they gave us all very complete resumes to consider before we asked them questions. And so I think I would be comfortable making a decision now. So that's my viewpoint.
Okay. Denny, do you share that viewpoint or?
Ready.
Okay. So I'd like to open it up to, should we have some discussion, or if anybody would like to make a nomination, you are welcome to at any time.
I'll make a motion to appoint John Hartman to the vacant council seat.
Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay.
All right, let's
So-
discuss.
Let's discuss this motion. Does anyone have any thoughts they'd like to share?
I do. You can hear me.
Yeah.
I think we've got 4 fantastic candidates, and so unfortunately we can't take all 4 of them. But that would be my inclination. Let's start the whole process over and put all 4 of them on the council, but not to be. There's 2 candidates that I think are outstanding. One of them Steve, the other one's John. I believe that that's a tough decision for me. Steve is obviously a friend, and I might be biased right there. But I think John's qualifications are really outstanding. So that's my situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think John would give us a good outside voice. He's analytical, right? You have to kind of go through that whole analytical process in construction and project management, and it would help us go through, applications for development that are going to be coming forth and a lot of contracts. He can help us understand them maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I want to echo what Denny said. Those 2 candidates definitely, kind of rose to the top of my list as the 2 strongest candidates.
Yeah, me too.
And for me, it's probably similar to Denny. I mean, they're neck and neck tied in my mind. So that's why I was hoping to have more time to think about it, but you know, I'm just one vote. So you know, of course, the majority is who selects this person. But I just want to go on record to say that I think any of the 4 candidates would do an amazing job on the council. And I feel like we're really, really lucky to have gotten such qualified applicants. Is there any further discussion regarding the nomination that's been presented to us?
I'm good.
I think I'm good.
Okay. So do I need a nomination, or do I need a motion for a vote, or do I just call for a vote?
We just would call for a vote. We have a motion and a second right now.
I'll go ahead and call for a vote then. And what we're voting on is to appoint John Hartman to the vacant seat on the city council. And that would be effective immediately. All those in favor, or let's do a named, I think we should do a named vote on this one, please, Mike.
Okay. Councilor Manelis,
Yes.
Councilor Tyso,
Yes.
Councilor Gelfand,
I have to say yes.
Mayor Thompson.
I'm abstaining. The reason for my abstention is that I just still have some kind of lingering safety concerns surrounding this process. So out of an abundance of caution, I will abstain from this vote.
Motion passes 3-0 with 1 abstention. Would you like me to see if Mr. Hartman is still in the attendees and then promote him?
Yes, please, and we can go in.
Okay, hang on.
And to the other applicants,
Yes, thank you very much.
this was such a hard decision. I mean, this is hurting my heart a little bit because I really honestly think that you are all just such solid applicants, and I would love for you to continue being involved in our city government. If there's any openings on any committees, I'm pretty sure we have openings on the budget committee, and we are forming a charter committee to review our charter and make some important changes. And I would strongly encourage all of you to please apply, reach out to me if you have any questions, or any of the counselors or staff would be happy to discuss those further with you. But please don't give up hope, and don't give up on being involved, and keep doing it. I see John is back. Congratulations, John.
Thank you very much.
The newest member of the King City City Council.
I don't envy the decision that you made.
Thank you. It was a tough one.
I'm sure.
So I think we should just go ahead and
Do you want me to go through the oath with him?
sure, since you have it, I don't have it.
Yeah.
I think I was just bringing it up right now on my computer.
Or if you want to send it to me, I can do it. Either way.
Yeah, I think it's easier, but.
Go ahead.
You want to do it, Mayor? Do you want to do it? Okay,
I don't have it.
okay. Mr. Hartman, can I have you raise your right hand and repeat after me, please? I state your name.
I, John Hartman,
Do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will, to the best of my ability,
that I will, to the best of my ability,
faithfully fulfill and discharge the duties of the office
faithfully fulfill and discharge the duties of this office. Good one.
to which I have been appointed,
To which I have been appointed,
and that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the laws of the state of Oregon,
the laws of the state of Oregon,
and the ordinances of the city of King City.
and the ordinances of the city of King City.
Congratulations, Councilor Hartman.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you all.
Sorry that we can't be doing this. Would have preferred that, but
Yeah.
welcome to the club. Welcome to the team.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, are you available to continue the rest of this meeting with us?
Sure, why not?
And then there were 5. We're growing. Okay, so let's see what's next on our agenda here. Resolution R 2024-18. Mike?
Yeah, so in the packet, you'll see the election canvassing and the official numbers from the elections department. And we're asking that the council approve resolution 2024-18, accepting the canvass and the election results.
Great. Any questions or discussion on this one?
I can restate that. I may not have heard all of it.
Sure. This is for resolution 2024-18, the canvassing to election on the November 5th, 2024 general election. And I'm going to get to that resolution just one second. I dived for my packet here. And I'll read the heading for you. Okay. Resolution number R 2024-18, a resolution of the City Council of the City of King City, Oregon, accepting the canvass of election votes from the November 5th, 2024 general election for 3 at-large council positions. The 3 positions being awarded are to Rachel Kazmierski, Jessica Braverman, and Vincent Arditi. Do you want me to read the, okay. Now therefore, the city resolves as follows: the attached canvass of election votes for the city of King City for 3 at-large positions. You know what, I'll just share, I'll see if I can share my screen. Hang on. That might be helpful. Can you guys see my screen now?
No.
Okay. Barely.
There it comes.
Okay. You guys can see it now?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay. Here's the heading of the resolution, 2024-18, a resolution of the City Council, City of King City, Oregon, accepting the canvass of election votes for the November 5th, 2024 general election for 3 at-large council positions. Whereas at a general election held in the state of Oregon, County of Washington, in the city of King City on November 5th, 2024, the candidates for the 3 at-large positions were submitted to the voters. Whereas King City received the certified abstract of election results from the Washington County election clerk. The results are as follows. You can see by the votes, the total vote getters. Rachel Kazmierski at 19.19%, Gretchen Boehner at 17.47%, Jessica Braverman at 20.26%, Stephen Gearhart at 18.16%, and Vincent Arditi at 18.26%. Mr. Carl Swanson at 5.85%. And then there was write-ins and now therefore the city resolves as follows: the attached canvass of election votes for the city of King City for 3 at-large positions are attached here too as Exhibit A. By this reference incorporated herein, by accepted and be accepted as the final official results. And the apparent winners are Jessica Braverman, Rachel Kazmierski, and Vince Arditi. And pursuant to the City of King City Charter, the oath of office will be administered to the newly elected city council members at the first regular meeting of the city council in January 2025, it should be. the chief city elections officer shall prepare and deliver a certificate of election to each of the 3 qualified candidates for city council receiving the most votes.
Great, thank you for reading that. So with that one revision of 2025 over 2024, we should be able to vote on it anyway, right? Yeah. Okay. So I will entertain a motion to approve resolution number R2024-18 with the one revision of the year 2025.
Got a second?
Who made the motion though?
So moved. I'll make
Okay.
the motion.
Thank you. And it was seconded by Councillor Gelfand. All those in favor, please raise your hand.
Thank you. I have 5.
And that's all we got, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe so.
Okay.
That's all that's on the agenda there.
So the next meeting is going to be, so we need to definitely let the newly elected councilors know of the date change for our next meeting, January 21st at 6 p.m. Hopefully that's not a conflict for them. That would not be good. So before we adjourn, I just want to say happy holidays to everyone. Thank you for taking the time to do the work that we have to do during the holiday season. I know everyone's busy. Some people are even out of town. So I appreciate you being here.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
Thank you. And happy holidays to everyone as well.
And before we go, we do need a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, raise your hand, please. All right. We'll see you guys next year.
Thank you all very much. Have a happy holiday.
Take care, you too. Bye, everyone. Congrats,
Bye.
John.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.